There are still counties in America where zoning laws are basically a rumor. Nobody wrote them, nobody enforces them, and the only thing regulating your property is how stubborn your goats are. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 counties with absolutely zero zoning, the last places in the U.S., where you can build almost anything, live almost anywhere, and never worry about a county inspector materializing out of the bushes holding a clipboard and disappointment. You're driving down a 2-lane highway that hasn't seen fresh paint since the moon landing. The sky is huge. The land is empty. And the last gas station you passed is now legally considered a historical artifact. You're in a part of America where the wind has more authority than the local government. A place where nobody cares what you build, where you build it, or whether your house is technically a repurposed chicken coop with solar panels duct taped on top. Here, freedom isn't a slogan. It's the landscape. Some counties have so few rules that the zoning map literally doesn't exist. Not it's outdated. Not we're revising it. Not it's under review. No. It just never happened. Nobody wrote one. Nobody voted on one. Nobody cared enough to regulate where you put your goat barn. These places are rare. They're disappearing. They're the last tiny pockets of a country that used to be wild, untamed, unpredictable before every acre got divided, color-coded, inspected, and labeled like a middle school science project. Most of America now runs on regulations. You want to build a shed? Permit. You want to live in an RV? Temporary occupancy violation. You want to camp on your own land? Apparently that's a crime now. But not here. In these counties, you can build a cabin, a castle, or a barn shaped like your favorite dinosaur. You can dig a pond, raise alpacas, set up a yurt, live in a shipping container, or build a tiny home out of whatever the wind didn't blow away last week. And the county won't say a word, mostly because the county staff consists of 2 people, a filing cabinet, and a dog who sleeps through all the meetings. This isn't off-grid living. This is off-bureaucracy living. And today, we're going to explore the last 5 places in America where that kind of freedom still exists. Before we dive into the counties with zero zoning, we need to talk about what zoning even is, because depending on where you live, zoning is either a mild inconvenience or the reason you suddenly know the names of everyone on the county planning board. Zoning laws are basically your local government's way of telling your land what it's allowed to be when it grows up. Is it residential? Agricultural? Commercial? Industrial? Or everyone's favorite, mixed use, which is just government speak for we couldn't decide, so we gave up. It's like personality types for dirt. And zoning controls everything, and I mean everything. What you can build, where you can build it, how tall it can be, whether your chickens are livestock or illegal occupants, whether you can put a tiny home on wheels, how far your cabin must be from the road, the fence, the neighbor, and probably the neighbor's cousin. Zoning decides if your land is allowed to hold a house, a barn, a workshop, a double wide, or nothing at all except existential disappointment. And the wild part? None of this is federal. None of it is national. It's all made up locally by people who once argued for 3 hours about whether a porch should legally count as a structure. In most of America, zoning is everywhere. Even microscopic towns with 42 residents and a gas station that sells more worms than gasoline somehow have a fully updated zoning code. And those codes love saying things like, no RV living unless the RV is ashamed and hides behind a fence. No structures over 200 square feet unless approved by a guy named Stan. No sheds unless they match the cultural aesthetic of the neighborhood. I wish I were joking. And if you think you can just build first, ask later, you're about to meet a new species, the code enforcement officer. They appear suddenly, silently, like a raccoon with a badge. You'll be outside grilling a hot dog, minding your business, and they'll walk up with a clipboard asking if your solar panels have documentation. Zoning isn't just about planning, it's about control. Zoning tells you, you can't live in that. You can't build that. You can't place that there. You can't exist like that. Unless, of course, you live in one of the rare places where zoning never took root. Where the land is still just land. Where the rules fit on a sticky note. Where the county meetings last 10 minutes because everyone just wants to go home. Those are the places we're exploring today. And now that you know what zoning usually is, let's talk about what life looks like without it. So now that we've talked about zoning and all its charm, let's talk about something far stranger. Places where zoning never happened at all. Not it was removed, not it was suspended, not we're revising the code. No, I'm talking about counties where zoning laws simply never existed in the first place. Where the government looked at the idea of regulating land and said, people will figure it out. These places are rare. They're almost mythical, like the bureaucratic equivalent of Bigfoot, rumored, debated, occasionally spotted, and always living somewhere remote with questionable plumbing. Zero zoning doesn't mean zero laws. Doesn't mean you can build a roller coaster in your backyard and call it church. It doesn't mean anarchy, chaos, or Mad Max with better landscaping. What it means is this: no land use categories, no master zoning map, no restrictions on what types of buildings can go where, no county level permission needed to exist. No one telling you your tiny home is emotionally incompatible with the neighborhood. A zero zoning county is a place where if you want a cabin, you build a cabin. If you want a barn, you build a barn. If you want a yurt, a dome home, a hobbit house, or a shipping container fortress, go for it. The county will not intervene, mostly because the county has other things to do, like fixing a road from 1983. So how did these places survive? Reason 1, rural geography. Some of these counties are huge, empty, and isolated. If you build a cabin, the nearest neighbor might be a cow 3 miles away. The county doesn't have the staff, the time, or the emotional energy to micromanage your composting toilet. Reason 2, local culture. Many of these communities were built on independence. People there don't want the government telling them where to park their tractor, much less where to park their house. Reason 3, no demand for zoning. Zoning is usually created when people complain. Noise, traffic, crowded neighborhoods. But in these counties, there are more trees than residents. And trees almost never attend zoning hearings. Reason 4, money. Zoning costs money: planners, inspectors, meetings, administration. Some counties simply said, no thanks, we'll spend the budget on useful things, like gravel. These zero zoning areas are the last sparks of an older America, the version where people built their lives with their own hands, their own rules, and occasionally their own questionable engineering choices. And yes, they still exist. So let's hit the road and explore the last U.S. counties where zoning never arrived and freedom never left. Brewster County, Texas, but stretched out across so much land it feels like the horizon is running away from you. Mountains, desert, silence, and more silence, just in case you missed it. Brewster is the biggest county in Texas. Bigger than some states. Bigger than the entire attention span of the average zoning board. And here's the best part. It has no county zoning, not flexible zoning, not light zoning, just none. It's as if someone asked, should we regulate land use? And the county collectively responded, we're good. Here, you can build almost anything. A cabin? Sure. A yurt? Absolutely. A spaceship-looking dome home built from recycled water tanks and stubborn optimism? Knock yourself out? Brewster County won't stop you, because Brewster County does not have the time, staff, or philosophical interest to monitor what you're doing. If a code enforcement officer exists here, he's probably lost in the desert trying to hitch a ride with a tumbleweed. Life out here is rugged. Your nearest neighbor might be a cow. Your nearest store might be an hour away. Your nearest emergency service is, well, good luck. But the trade-off? Freedom, not the marketing kind. The real kind, the kind where you put something on your land and nobody appears with a clipboard to ask if it meets Section 14, Subchapter C of the Please Don't Have Fun Code. People come to Brewster for the space, the solitude, and the total absence of zoning drama. It's one of the last places in America where your land is actually your land. And if you ever wanted to build a life without permits, inspections, or Dale from code enforcement, this county is proof that such freedom still exists. Lawrence County. If Brewster County is the wild frontier where you battle the desert and your own sanity, Lawrence County is the opposite. Quiet, green, friendly, and so down to earth it might politely apologize if you step on it. Lawrence County sits in the heart of Missouri farm country, rolling hills, open fields, gravel roads, and neighbors who wave at you even if they have no idea who you are. And here's the shocker. There is no county zoning, no building codes, no planning department judging your life choices. If you want to build a homestead, this county isn't just okay with it, it's almost culturally expected. Want a barn? Build it. Want a tiny home? Absolutely. Want a cabin made of scrap lumber and stubborn determination? Go for it. Lawrence County's official stance is basically, if it works and it doesn't catch on fire, have fun. The land here is cheaper than therapy and far better for your mental health. People grow gardens, raise livestock, and build homes that don't require a loan the size of a small nation's GDP. You don't need to impress anyone here, the cows genuinely don't care. But unlike some rural no-zoning areas, Lawrence County isn't isolated or harsh. You're close to towns, grocery stores, hardware shops, and enough civilization to make life practical. It's freedom without the survival challenges. Of course, zero zoning means your neighbor could build something interesting. A workshop, an RV compound, or a chicken mansion that looks like it was designed by a medieval architect with a glue gun. But that's the charm. Everyone minds their business and lets you live the way you want. Lawrence County isn't wild or extreme. It's simple, honest, and genuinely free the way rural America used to be. Callaway County is one of those places that quietly surprises you. It's not flashy, not extreme, not rugged like West Texas. It's the kind of county that feels stable, grounded, and livable in a way many off-grid destinations aren't. And yet it has no zoning. None. The county never adopted a zoning code. Not because of oversight or chaos, but because people here genuinely don't want anyone telling them how to use their land. Callaway sits in central Missouri, right in that sweet spot between rural calm and real-world convenience. You're not cut off from life, you're close to towns, highways, shops, and everything you need to function like a normal human being. But your land is your kingdom. This county feels like the responsible older sibling of the zero zoning world. You want a house? Build it. A workshop? Go for it. A tiny home, mobile home, modular home, container home, nobody will stop you. If you suddenly decide you want a garden big enough to feed half the county will probably nod in approval and offer you seeds. What makes Callaway unique is the vibe. People here aren't escaping society. They're improving their quality of life. Most residents homestead, farm, raise animals, or run small businesses from their land. Freedom here isn't chaotic, it's practical. But the lack of zoning also means you get the occasional wild card. Your neighbor might build a mechanic shop, or park 5 RVs for visiting relatives, or decide their new hobby is raising 40 chickens with questionable emotional stability. But disagreements are rare because Callaway has something most places don't: a strong culture of minding your own business. People respect land, respect privacy, and expect you to do the same. Callaway County isn't dramatic. It's not exotic. It's not extreme. It's simply one of the easiest, most functional places in America to live freely without sacrificing comfort or community. McDonald County. McDonald County is where the Ozarks look like they've been photoshopped. Rolling forested hills, crystal clear rivers, rocky bluffs, and small towns that feel like they were built by people who knew exactly what peace looked like and wanted to keep it. And in the middle of all that natural beauty, zero zoning. No county zoning code. No land use categories. No, you can't put that there rules. Just land, trees, water, and whatever your imagination or stubbornness decides to build. If Brewster County gives you isolation and Lawrence gives you farmland, McDonald County gives you creative freedom. People live in cabins hidden under oak canopies, A-frame homes by the river, workshops tucked behind winding gravel roads, and tiny houses perched on hills with million-dollar views for a fraction of the price. Want a riverside yurt? Build it. Want a cabin that looks like it was inspired by a Pinterest board and a fever dream? Do it. Want to convert an old bus into a full-time home and park it under the trees? Nobody's stopping you. What makes McDonald County special isn't just the lack of zoning, it's the culture. People here love the land. They respect privacy, they expect independence, and they absolutely do not want anyone micromanaging their property from a government office. Life here is slower, more peaceful, more connected to nature. You can hunt, fish, swim, farm, garden, build, and create without paperwork suffocating the fun out of everything. Of course, freedom comes with quirks. Your neighbor might build a wood shop, or raise goats that occasionally escape and judge you from your porch, or run an unofficial mechanic operation out of a barn that looks like it survived 3 tornadoes and 1 bad decision. But that's the Ozarks. People here live how they want and let you do the same. McDonald County is the kind of place where freedom blends with nature and life feels simple again. It's not lawless, it's not chaotic, it's just beautifully, unapologetically free. Johnson County. Johnson County is the kind of place where people don't just fix things, they build things. Cabins, workshops, garages, barns, chicken coops, greenhouses, full-blown homesteads. If it can stand upright for more than 10 seconds, someone here has built it with their own 2 hands, a borrowed ladder, and a YouTube tutorial. And the county's official stance on how you use your land? They don't have one. Johnson County has no zoning regulations, no land use rules, no building inspector waiting to critique your construction choices. If you suddenly decide your new dream home is a remodeled RV with a porch attached to it at a questionable angle, the county won't blink. If you want a tiny house on skids, a modular cabin, or a barn-dominium you designed on napkin paper, go for it. Johnson County is where the DIY spirit isn't a trend, it's a way of life. Unlike the wilder counties on this list, Johnson isn't remote wilderness. You've got towns, hardware stores, restaurants, and enough civilization to keep daily life comfortable. But your land? That's your blank canvas. People here run small businesses from their property. Mechanics, welders, farmers, carpenters, woodworkers, you'll find all of them working out of backyard shops and barns built exactly how they wanted. The freedom here is practical, not extreme, not chaotic, just simple, functional, live, how you want freedom. Of course, with no zoning, your neighbor might build something you didn't see coming. A giant garage for 6 project cars, a greenhouse complex, a chicken operation with suspiciously ambitious architecture, or an RV village for visiting relatives who just need to stay for the summer. But nobody cares, because everyone is busy doing their own thing. And that's the charm. Johnson County is one of those rare places where independence isn't marketing, it's daily life. It's where people build the homes they want, the businesses they want, and the lives they want. And while these 5 counties stand out as the last true holdouts of zoning-free living, there are a few more places worth mentioning, areas where freedom exists in slightly more complicated ways. There are also a few places in America that didn't quite make the main list, but still deserve an honorable mention because their zoning situation is, let's just say, creatively inconsistent. Take Wyoming County in Pennsylvania. The county itself doesn't have zoning. They never adopted a county-wide land use code. But the townships and boroughs scattered inside the county? Some of them do have zoning, and some absolutely don't. And a few have rules so confusing they feel like they were written during a thunderstorm by candlelight. It's the kind of place where you can build a barn on one side of the road and need 3 signatures and a public hearing to build a shed on the other side. Freedom here is real, it just depends on which direction your mailbox faces. And then there's Venango County, also in Pennsylvania. Another county with no countywide zoning at all. But, again, the individual towns inside have their own ideas. Living here is like playing a zoning lottery. Every township has its own set of rules, exceptions, and eccentricities. 2 neighbors can share a fence, share a view, share a driveway, and live under completely different zoning universes. Some people find it annoying, others treat it like a loophole treasure hunt. Either way, it's fascinating. But if you want something truly unique, look north, way north, to Alaska's unorganized borough. This isn't a county. It's not even close. It's a massive, wild region with no borough-level government at all. No zoning. No planning department. No local meetings. Just land, mountains, tundra, silence, and the occasional moose who believes he owns the place. It's the closest thing America has to a real frontier, where the rules are simple. Stay warm, stay alive, and try not to sink your cabin into the permafrost. If you want freedom from paperwork, this is the final stop on the map. These places remind us that zoning in America isn't a single system, it's a patchwork. Some counties regulate every inch, others barely regulate anything at all. And a few, well, they just hand you the land and say, good luck. So that's it. 5 counties where zoning never showed up, a few bonus regions where the rules bend in strange ways, and one giant piece of Alaska that basically shrugged and said, figure it out. These places aren't perfect. They're not glamorous, and they definitely aren't designed for people who need a Starbucks within 5 minutes. But they offer something almost impossible to find anymore. The freedom to live without permission. Most of America is covered in rules pages of zoning codes trying to decide how you should build, live, sleep, and exist. But in these counties, the land still feels like land. Not a spreadsheet, not a policy, not a color-coded zone, just dirt beneath your feet and sky above your head. Sure, you might have a neighbor who collects broken tractors, or goats that escape like furry little Houdinis, or a workshop next door that appears out of nowhere. But that's the deal. Everyone minds their business. You live how you want. They live how they want. And that's real freedom. Messy, imperfect, sometimes inconvenient, but real. Maybe you'll never move to one of these counties. Maybe you're just watching out of curiosity. Or maybe you're dreaming about a simpler life, one where you build something with your own hands and nobody shows up asking for paperwork. Either way, remember this. Freedom still exists. Not everywhere, not easily. But in these last pockets of America, it's still alive. Quiet, stubborn, and waiting for the people willing to chase it.